what about record keeping? And because I'm sure it's quite common for somebody to draft these estate planning documents and then 20, 30 years go by, and let's say they either don't know where they are, or let's say they pass away and the children don't know where these documents are. Can you talk a little bit about like record keeping and what to do in those situations?
Yeah, so I think back in the day, things were recorded, with the state, or sometimes banks held things in their vaults.
Mhm.
So people think that there is a magical place where all of the documents and records are kept. Not so anymore. There's no requirement. I also have clients when I set up their plan, they say, okay, so you're going to file this and then I'm going to get a copy. And I'm like, no, no, no. My practice is to give back the originals. You have it. I have a copy. And, especially with like cloud storage and all these things these days, like I'll have it. But you're going to have the originals and it's up to you to, a lot of people think they have to put in a safe deposit box, but then that can create a problem too, because who has access to that safe deposit box if you pass away? Run into that situation where documents are in there, but nobody's authorized to get in there. So you have to do a little special procedure to get access to get documents and then do everything. Most attorneys, I think, give originals back to clients and keep copies. But if it's from 30 years ago, sometimes these are done on typewriters. We're not keeping that, or it's very early days of the computers and the word processing. So my first recommendation to people is like, we don't know where it is. I'm like, do you know who drafted it? Sometimes if there's a deed involved, like they put the house in the trust, the attorney's information might sometimes be in the deed.
Mhm.
uh, Contact them. Okay, well, they've passed away. They don't exist anymore. That firm doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what to do. Okay. If you can't find it there, we have recently, so the Hawaii State Bar Association, which is the association of attorneys, have sections and so subsections that we're members of. So there's a probate and estate planning section, and we'll get emails that say, hey, does anybody have the documents for
Mhm.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith? They'll put the full names.
Right.
We're looking for documents. If anybody has any information, contact so and so.
Mhm.
So it could be like for me, I've been at several law firms. Maybe I'm the attorney who worked on documents for a couple, and now I've sort of taken that client with me along, and then they pass away. The kids might go back to the firm, and the firm might say, "Oh, we don't know," or "We don't have that." So the email to the section, I'll see it, and I'll be like, "Oh, those were my clients," and so now I can contact the person.
Mhm.
That also doesn't always work, and so end of the day, if you can't, the typical situation is there's a property, there's a house, it's in the trust. Nobody has a copy of the trust. Nobody can find the trust. What do we do?
Mhm.
So again, it's something that's going to require court intervention to say nobody knows what this trust said. Nobody knows who would have been in charge. Nobody has any idea what it could have said. So we're just going to have to proceed as if there was no trust. So it kind of goes back to the probate and the laws about who gets stuff and who gets to be in charge if you don't do any planning.
Okay.
So it is important for people. I tell them, keep it in a place that, like in the office, in the, back bedroom, on the bookshelf. You don't have to keep it in a safe deposit box. I have like a waterproof, fireproof safe,
Mhm.
in my closet that someone could steal if they wanted to, but it's just for documents.
Right.
Make sure someone knows how to get into things,
Right.
make
Right.
sure, and you don't have to tell everyone, just tell the person that you nominated. If it's in the house, sometimes a lot of people find documents after people pass away by just going through the documents in the house. Yeah.
The opinions and statements presented on this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Never make any investment or financial decisions based on information offered on this show without first consulting your financial, legal, or tax advisor. All economic and performance information mentioned on the show is historical in nature and is not indicative of any future results. All indices mentioned on this show are unmanaged and cannot be invested in directly. All information is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. Lastly, all opinions opinions expressed by Jason Cutitta and any guests on the show are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of or are endorsed by ToBA Financial. For Jason Cutitta, investment advisory services are offered through ToBA Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor offering advisory services in the state of Hawaii and in other jurisdictions where exempt from registration.